This game did it. Astral Chain filled the hole left in me by Nier and Xeno. Kinda. At least for a while. The thing is, I love it when the line gets blurred during the experience. Because Astral Chain is basically an anime with interactive fight scenes. I mean, come on, it even has a legit anime opening sequence. No, seriously. It's an anime. Even the way the whole game is set up with files, which are like chapters in the story, kinda like episodes. The whole game consisting of a prologue, 11 main files, and an extra 12th file after the end. And hey, would you look at that, that's exactly how many episodes an experimental one-season anime has. Right from the get-go, you boot it up, it takes you to this intro scene where the first prominent characters are kinda introduced, and some weird stuff happens. This kind of start always gets me hooked. Then they bring in the setting, which is cyberpunk, maybe? More like post-apocalyptic, I guess, except where you're at, the apocalypse still hasn't arrived. And come to think of it, there's a lot of cyberpunk stuff. You know what? I'll just tell you like it is. Humanity is being attacked from all sides by these beasts called chimeras, who spawn from a different dimension. They destroyed the whole Earth except for this isolated island everyone fled to called the Ark. So the intro shows this scientist dude subduing the chimeras to do your bidding and trying to fight back fire with fire. I will say though, in all seriousness, this game delivered exactly what I expected in its story. Not necessarily that deep, but with enough intricacies and plot twists to keep me in there. There's some well-paced world building, and as the main characters develop, their point of view also changes, due to exploring the differences between the driving motives behind the antagonists or even the anti-heroes you're exposed to. And as I was about to bring up how the story tries to raise some philosophical and moral questions, it dawned on me, and I was amazed to realize just how many stories Evangelion inspired, even today. No, really. Check it out. A human settlement in the danger of imminent unknown extraplanar invasion. The leader of an elite military organization getting funded by some faceless overlords to establish a resistance. At least that's what they want you to think. Main characters are called in because only they and a select few can use these questionable new super weapons to combat the threat. And guess what? The protagonist has a high sync rate with said weapon, different from all the others. Is that ringing any bells? I bet you can guess right now what happens when those sync rates get alarmingly high. Okay, maybe I made it sound like just another Eva ripoff, but trust me, it's just in the setting. I feel like the actual story has a good direction. It was entertaining to me from start to finish. But now it's time for the other obligatory anime comparison. You see, the chimeras and the legions, which are the subdued chimeras from the police, are invisible to the naked eye. And get this, only the humans synced to a legion can see it and the chimeras. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we rejoice because the game is a motherfucking JoJo's reference. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to do it. It's done now. All in all, I'd say the story is written well enough. It had some cool plot twists that even if you see them coming, it's still satisfying to see how the characters actually react to it. There are some cool hidden lore bombs that the game doesn't necessarily outright tell you, but you can assume from some bits and pieces of dialogue. I love mysteries like that, they keep me engaged, even if sometimes they don't actually need to be explained in full detail. It was a lot more than what I would have expected from a game with a central beat-em-up premise. There is some decision making, but it doesn't seem to alter the story at all. Keep in mind I only finished the game once, so some tidbits might change depending on what you choose. But hey, at least they're trying to give your character some personality, because, well, your character is a freaking doll. From the intro cutscene, there's this cool transition into the character builder. And if you saw my video on the dev story of Astral Chain, which if you haven't, go check it out. It's pretty good. And the link up there in the card. Check it out. I was very excited that I was getting this character builder from Katsura Sensei. And look at this, it's such a Katsura thing. But if that meant making my character the soulless void it was, then boy was it not worth it. The character creator itself didn't have much variety. And I sure didn't get to build Karin with a beauty mark. I mean, seriously, why couldn't I have the beauty mark? Brenda has it, Mari has it, Why can't I have it? You know, it might be a super rare I-type accessory you get by completing some achievement, which in that, you know, good on you, Platinum. I'll just have to earn the beauty mark. My petty bickering aside, since I couldn't even make Iria, I just did what I always do in these creators, which is trying to make a character as similar to Cosmos as humanly possible. And hey, guess what? I'd say I did a really good job with what I had, and maybe a little too good, because my character had no freaking emotions. I was afraid of this. Fire Emblem had the same damn problem. My character doesn't cry, doesn't laugh, emote, relate, nothing. At least she gets kinda angry mid-fight scenes. But that's it. No lines, no acting, no nothing. You always need a babysitter to speak for you. This pisses me off so much. Listen, I'm the main character here. I am the one who acts. You know, silent protagonists have been done right in the past. But this just feels so weird. All she does is nod or deny with her head. I've had enough of nodding from 6 years of Final Fantasy XIV. Dear Lord, I don't need that in my single-player experiences too. And besides all that, you know, because the characters are all made from the same builder, it does make the NPCs a little bit bland and generic. Except for the more prominent characters, which, you guessed it, they have their unique hairstyles and outfits. But I don't really blame them on that. It must help them a lot while developing the game, making it faster to build models and characters and whatever. The animations during the story scenes are alright, but that dub... the sync is horrible.
Yes, they have. But they're not from our usual channels. They're 2 new officers who just joined Criminal Affairs.
I usually only play these games in Japanese though, so I didn't really have that problem. Just change it at the start menu if it bothers you. Now, the Legion and boss designs look awesome. The model animations during the gameplay are smooth and diverse. The scenery looks really cool and changes a lot depending on the file you're playing, ranging from bustling metropolis to the slums, rooftops, scientific facilities, a lot of stuff. There's also the Chimera's breeding ground, which is the Astral Chain where you venture to off now and then. And it's this huge, vast expanse of red, which, I get it, it's supposed to be an alternate dimension where human lives are getting absorbed into complete chaos. And that said, the first time you do go in there, it looks awesome and eerie. But on the 20th time, you're just... great. More red. Everywhere. Music and sound direction are good. The songs are always backing up what the gameplay is, either an important story moment or just really over-the-top action sequence time. Most of them are not that memorable though. Except maybe the Neuron HQ one, and of course the ones that play during these important story scenes. But enough of the aesthetics, let's talk gameplay. And guess what? Platinum did it again. If you do get this just for the gameplay, you'll be happy. And it's not just a button mashing game like some say, because if you do that, you will get your ass kicked. The game has a really good pacing at introducing you to your different legions, which are unique in their gameplay styles. You got your Sword Legion, your Arrow Legion, Jojo Legion, Doggo Legion. Who's a good boy? Hey, who's a good boy? You're the best extra dimension killing machine fan, yes you are. And Tank Legion. As you get these new legions, the game has like a simple weakness system that incentives you to keep switching around between them. The reason being, there are certain enemies that are handled better by certain legions, or sometimes outright requiring you to use said legion to beat them. It's an easy way to get the player to familiarize himself with what the game has to offer, and from there, choose his preferred fighting style. And as the game progresses, it'll mix and match all these different types of enemies to provide a different type of challenge for each file. Controls do get kinda clunky sometimes, but I'm still not sure if it's just because I was never used to this type of control setting. I mean, the last game I played that used both analog sticks this much was Ape Escape back in the PS1. Contrary to like all other Platinum games, you don't have a heavy and a light attack button. You have one way to attack, and that's the trigger button. That being, of course, because since you need both analogs to move you and the Legion, it's a smart design choice. Maybe just a tad unconventional. The animations, the finishing moves, the sync attacks, dodges, which are a little bit more difficult to pull off in this game when compared to like Nier or Bayo. They're all extremely satisfying and rewarding to watch whenever you do get them right. There are creative ways to use the legions to evade attacks, counter attacks, you just gotta try it. It's been 30 hours of gameplay and I'm still finding out some things in bosses I could have done better and cooler because of all the different legions and their skills. Sometimes though, movement and depth perception might be a problem, since one of the best ways to dash around is to get your legion to some place and then pull you towards it. The problem being that even knowing exactly where your legion is might not be exactly where you're gonna land. But besides all that, there are tons of other gameplay modes other than just the action scenes. You got escort missions, reconnaissance missions, rescue missions, stealth segments. Of those, the stealth segments were my favorite thing. There are some cool ways you can interact with the environment to throw off the guards' attentions and whatnot, and being able to stun them with your invisible legion is just always fun. That being a mechanic that was introduced in the game way before the stealth parts, and just making total sense for that part. I mean, I was surprised when this guard found this other guard that wasn't conscious to my attacks and just alerted security. That was some MGS shit right there. I will say, reconnaissance stuff is a little boring, and the side quests for the most part feel shoehorned in there and not that creative. While some are worth your time, which includes some cool background on characters, most are just filler. But at least the game does a good job at not breaking your thrill though. It generally follows a routine. Come back from a mission, do maintenance, get upgrades, level up legions and some side quests at Neuron HQ. Leave on the next mission, do a bit of searching and info gathering around, solve minor cases and pointless side quests, do non-combat things like civilian rescue or stealth sections depending on the file. And then it's about time that crap hits the fan and you start wrecking house. The game never cuts off your momentum from chimera slaying so abruptly that it will make you feel like, damn, this is just a chore. Take me to the fights again. You just get to skip the chore parts if you want to. That said, it's a great journey from start to finish. And the end boss, without spoiling much, it's a cool way to test everything you've learned through the game and your creativity. The story comes to a good conclusion, but a lot is still unanswered for. We don't actually know if we're getting sequels or not, only that Tora has thought about them at one point, but it does suggest there's a lot more to this universe. Myself, I really enjoyed the Astral Chain experience. There were times where I was so focused to beat this boss fight that when eventually I actually did, the plot just came in guns a-blazing, reminding me there's a lot more going on than just fighting. And then when I was invested into the story, trying to put some bits and pieces together, trying to find out what was going on, the game would remind me, hey, this is a game. You actually have to move now. That's just my jam. I want awesome gameplay and engaging and conflicting story. I want to be the main character in this type of scenario. I just wish my girl actually talked for a change. But even if that's not your cup of tea, if at least you like action, you'll like this game. And if you like a good one-season anime, then it's definitely for you. And as a plus, there's a good replay value. There are many uses for legions in each file, even ones where you might not have had said legion at that time. Besides that, the PT Ultimate difficulty is for sure gonna tire you out on testing your reaction time, knowledge of legions, and enemies. The game definitely gets the Ktsu approval. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go get some new costumes for my girl, cause I have nothing that looks good right now. I mean, you get me this freaking bird to put on my head as a class level up incentive? It's literally just a bird! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching until the end. Thank you for just being here with me and, you know, following up on the start of my channel. I've got a lot of projects going on, not just like in gaming, but anime too. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you can see when the new projects come out. Please comment down there what you thought of Astral Chain. I'm eager to see your guys' experience with it. That said, this has been Ktsu, signing out.